Hi guys, welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in January.
Pathetic, Beldo.
And as it is still February,
This is madness.
that's still okay. So it's not a standard late Alan wrap-up.
That's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie.
So I know the question on everyone's mind that I hear you shouting from your home or device. Alan, but the strumpet. What about the strumpet? How was the strumpet's month? And I am sad to report it was a slow business month for the 5-star strumpet. Because out of 7 books, guys, 7 books? What? The Emperor's back, baby. 7 books in January? Like, what is that even about? But out of the 7 books that I read in January, but 2 of them were 5-star. And that's still not bad. I read a lot of, decent books. I read a lot of good books. Just not, only... This baby's trying to fall out of this chair. So if you hear anything in the background, it's a baby. So, out of those 7 books, 1 was a 2-star. Disappointing. 1 was a 3-star, and it's lucky to be a 3-star. It's lucky to be a 3-star. You hear me? 3-star book? And then I had 3 4-star books, and then 2 5-star books. So, I'll also talk about anything I was watching or playing in the month before I get to my favorite book of the month. So, let's do it. Without wasting any more time.
Well, you're just a huckleberry above a persimmon, ain't you?
Here are all the books that I read in January. Starting with the lowest, my 2-star book, that's going to be Glorious Exploits by Ferdia Lennon. So I read this with, my buddy read this with Joanna, and from Joanna Reads, and John over at Talking Story, and John's wife Amy joined us for a discussion as well about it. I understand why people thought I would like this book, and I should. Guys, I am still searching for the great ancient Greece historical fiction, like the ancient Greece historical fiction that just blows me away. What I have read so far has been limited at best. Now, to be fair, I haven't read a ton of ancient Greek historical fiction because mostly I read nonfiction about that, but I really would like to find some. And of the 3 that I've read, Glorious Exploits was a 2-star. Gates of Fire, which everyone says is amazing, by Stephen Pressfield, DNF'd. I couldn't get through it. And then The Lion of Macedon, while David Gemmell is a good writer, what is even Lion of Macedon? No. Aristotle's a wizard. Stop. No. So I just can't. I'm just looking for some really good Greek historical fiction. At any rate, this one takes place in the backdrop of the Peloponnesian War after Athens' absolutely miserable and abysmal failure to invade Sicily, and Syracuse specifically. And these 2 blue-collar workers, one of whom is obsessed with Athenian plays and playwrights, tragedians. They get the prisoners that are in the limestone quarry, the Athenian prisoners, and they want to put on an Athenian tragedy with them. And it just did not work for me. This book, similar to The Dispossessed, it had something to say, for sure. And there's nothing wrong with themes and books that have something to say, but sometimes I feel like the characters are merely a mouthpiece for the capital A, capital S about something that the book is trying to get through, and the story for me was not there. Similar to The Dispossessed. Like, I just didn't, I get it, and the themes that are in there are themes that I like, but the plot as a thematic delivery system just didn't do it for me. I didn't like the narrator, the first-person narrator. It was just a miss. It was just a miss. But there are wonderful things that it says about the dehumanization of war and one's opponents and the transformative power of the theater. It has wonderful thematic content, but to get to that, I just did not enjoy it. I know some people who love the main character, Lampo. I am not one of them. I'll have a review about this, and if you want to check out our discussion of it, I'll link it up there, and you can go listen to it. But I'll have a full review later. But it just was not my thing. So I'm still waiting for that great Greek historical fiction that can just blow me out of the water. Next, 3 stars, and listen to me, Boosh, the Proof House, and listen to me, Proof House. You better be glad I like KJ Parker. The only reason this gets a 3-star book is because people already aren't going to read KJ Parker, and I'm not going to lower his overall presence by giving this the 2-star it so richly deserves. This book is too long. This book is 600 pages, and it comes off the back of, a 500-page book and a 600-page book. It comes off the back of 1,100 pages. So 1,800 pages we read to get to this. If this was a standalone in Parker's series, like I'm okay with some of the thematic content that it was trying to teach us, the cyclical nature of violence and revenge. Love that kind of stuff. The primacy of familial relationships, even when those are incredibly dysfunctional. What is wrong with you, baby? But this, it just ain't it. Like, this is probably, I don't know if it's my least favorite Parker novel, because I don't remember liking Sharps all that much. So I think I like this one better. Like, I did enjoy reading it. It is just way too long for the payoff in this. Like, it's just too long. The story that Parker's trying to tell with the Fencer trilogy, it does not make sense to me on why it has to be this long. Like, I just don't get why it has to be this long. It's just too long. Again, because I am on a counter-algorithmic revolution, I will have a full review about books 2 and 3, which no one will watch, but I will put it up anyway. But, I mean, everything, like, this is Parker's first series. It's Parker's first books. And I didn't think he ended the Engineer trilogy super well either, but at least I understood why it was that way. I didn't get why any choices in the Proof House were made the way they were. Just like people are compared to the colors in the steel when forging a weapon in Book 1, and compared to the components and parts of a bow in Book 2. This one compares things to the Proof House, or proofing an armor, which is you cannot tell if the armor is any good until you put it through proof. And proof is like the final, is like how much assault can a piece of armor take before it breaks. And that's proof. You have to run it through its paces and bang it with all kinds of hammers and machines to make sure that it holds. And so that's fine, and I like the metaphors with the weapons that he's done in this trilogy, but man, I have rarely seen a theme be belabored as much as Parker did with the proof house and proofing in this particular one. It just, all the characters act weird. The resolutions are unsatisfying. I don't know. I still love it because it's Parker and I love the way he writes. And had I not been with the same characters and the same story for 1,300 pages prior, then I would have felt better about this one. But I was just ready for it to be over and get to the point. So 3 stars for the Proof House, because it is Parker, which, a bad Parker book is still better than many things that I read. All right, next 2 4-star ones, and I can't decide which one I like better, so whatever. Boosh. They're both from the same series. White Rose, and Silver Spike. Books 3 and 4 of The Black Company. So I'm on a tear. I am on a tear for reading the Black Company books. I've read books 1 through 5 at this point, and it's the end of February. I've read books 1 through 5, and I am on track to get through all of them before November, when the first book of the new, I think, quartet comes out, Lies Weeping. And I have not read Port of Shadows. I have heard that Port of Shadows is not good, and I'm hoping that Cook has not lost his magic. I am going to assume that Port of Shadows, part of the reason it's bad is because it was several short stories reworked to fit into a longer work, which I am not sure has ever worked well in the history of writing. But White Rose and Silver Spike. White Rose, book 3, I've read again since on BookTube. If you don't know, Black Company is one of my favorite series. And I've read White Rose, 3-4 times before. And I'd read it on BookTube, like when I started BookTube, I read the first 3 books again. And I didn't like it as much, but something has happened in the last 4 or 5 years. And I don't know if I've just become more curmudgeonly, like Croker and the company, or the captain, or lieutenant, or whatever. But I liked it more. Like I'm picking up what Cook is selling a little more. The action in Cook's books is just very odd. Like, so much is put into the lead up to the climaxes, and then the climaxes just are over very quickly. I'm assuming it's the opposite of a Sanderlanche. And again, but these are kind of like regular people, so it's not it's not really, they're not superhumans, so there's not a ton to be seen with like hand-to-hand combat. That's only interesting when you have people like Dritz or people with magic and superpowers and that kind of stuff. But anyway, this is book 3, which ends the Books of the North, the ones where the Black Company is ostensibly in the service of the Lady. I can't say too much about it other than it's very weird. It deals with the planes of fear and wind whales and talking menhirs. And but it does have the introduction of Toad Killer Dog, who is a fan favorite. But it kind of closes out that whole thing and leaves it open for an epilogue, which leads me into the Silver Spike, which this one I have not read in like 20 years. And this is the first book that is not written by Croker, who is the analyst. If you don't know, all these books are written from first-person perspective by the company's analyst, whoever is writing the history of the company. And so this is written by a guy they meet in the North named Philodendron Case. And what I have to commend with Glenn Cook, first of all, the Black Company series is the series in totality is better than any individual book, I think. But part of what always impresses me about Cook is the fact that his writing style kind of changes. Not kind of, it does. It changes based on who is writing the annals. Case is not nearly as... Is that a fact? Case is not nearly as cynical as Croker. I will tell you that he has had enough. And the thing I like about Case is that he is over some of the longtime characters in here, and I love it, because I hate them also. But it takes place in the North after the company is headed south, and deals with the remnants of what's left behind. What I like even more than the remnants of the company in here, and Toad Killer Dog. What I like even more is this intrepid group of thieves who goes out to steal the Silver Spike from from book 3, and it's an artifact of like incredible power, and they're like, we're gonna steal it, and then we're gonna sell it, because a bunch of like wizards are gonna want it. And then they get it, and they realize like everyone converges on that point, and everyone's hunting the spike, and they realize they're not gonna be able to sell it. Someone's gonna get killed. Like they're gonna get killed, and it's gonna get taken. And so watching them try to survive this locked down city and try to desperately cling to the hope of actually like making a profit on this thing, and it becomes like a horror movie. It's really good. Cook is amazing at taking these nobodies, these schlubs without any special abilities, and showing just the kind of terrible situations that these people can get themselves in. And I think that's the highlight of the book, and it has nothing to do with the company. But yeah, I liked both of these. I liked Silver Spike certainly more than last time I read it, and remember reading it 20 years ago. And I like The White Rose more this next time through. So 4 stars for both of these. Next, my next 4-star book, and this actually might be a 4.25, 4.5 book. It's gone The Curse of Chalion by Lois McMaster Bujold. So this was my patron pick, and I finally got around to reading it, and I really liked this book, and I think this book is excellent, and it is well written. The prose is readable, but also like kind of classic feeling, and the thematic content in this, the themes. I keep thinking of thematic content, which is like the most like distance I can keep from engaging in a book. The themes in here about loyalty, any books that explore loyalty, and duty. These are things that are very near and dear to my heart, and people who stand for what is morally right, no matter how hard it is, because I don't know why this is, news to people. But guys, sometimes doing the right thing is not the easy thing. And it's worth doing anyway. So, I mean, no one likes a hard life. I certainly don't. I hate being mildly inconvenienced. But doing the right thing is worth it. And even when your life is in danger. And Kazaril, the main character of this, who was some kind of lord or high up knight, but he was screwed over by the people who were under him. He was screwed over by the nobility, and he was sold into slavery with like the Viking race or whatever it is. And he has been freed, and is going back to Chalion to try to look just to find some work. And he ends up being the secretary tutor. So he teaches and writes letters for the what is essentially the princess. And his mentor relationship with her, it's really good. It reminds me of so a lot of times we have the older male character, younger female character, and there's like a kind of a love interest here. But between him and the princess, it is like, no, he's gonna do the right thing and kind of teach her how to be a good human being, and he kind of tempers the I'm a royal, I can do whatever I want kind of thing, and not and teaches her how the world really works, because she has very strong opinions being a teenager. And she's like, this is the right thing, and he's like, okay, but you got any proof of that? Like, can you like think about what this is going to do to that? Trying to prepare her for when she is an adult and marries and all this kind of stuff. And it reminds me of Jean-Claude and Isabelle from the Risen Kingdoms trilogy, where he just loves that kid, and it's really cool. I finished this book, and I knew it was a good book, and there were parts of it where I was just like, yes, let's go! But it didn't all flow like that. It's not that it's poorly paced. If you look at any Goodreads reviews, they say it's perfectly paced. Bajol does a really good job with moving things along without dallying. It's like Game of Thrones, the early Song of Ice and Fire books, where Catelyn Stark gets from Winterfell to King's Landing in between chapters, right? As opposed to having to see every single leg of the journey. And Bajol does that a lot also, and it doesn't belabor anything. Nothing overstays its welcome. And I finished it, and I just I haven't really. The book hasn't really stayed with me. A lot of times I change ratings based on, its longevity and if I think about it afterwards. And, sorry, I had to grab this baby. He's about to fall out of his chair. Yeah, and it just, it is a really good story that I read. But I haven't found my thoughts wandering back to it. So it lacks something for me that just sends it over the edge where I'm like, yes, and I, talk about it and sing its praises. But it is a very good book, and I enjoyed it greatly. That's why, maybe it's better than 4 stars. I don't know. But I really liked it, and I liked it enough to want to read Paladin of Souls, because I also like the character that Paladin of Souls follows. But yeah, I'll have a review of Curse of Chalion, and you can hear more of my in-depth thoughts after that. So, 2 more books left, and they're my 5 stars. The first one was a reread, and that is going to be Boosh, Shadows Linger by Glenn Cook, book 2 of The Black Company. Guys, Shadows Linger is such a banger. It could be a standalone novel, outside of the Black Company mythos. Yeah, the Black Company's in it, and yeah, it does benefit you, knowing the characters, but not really all that much. Shadows Linger is about exploring the absolute depravity that human beings will stoop to when their backs are against a wall. And it is so Lovecraftian. It has to be Lovecraft inspired. That kind of weird horror. It is disturbing, and it feels like a horror novel that doesn't have anything to do with the larger Black Company plot. It's just tremendous. And Marin Shed is one of the most real human and just people ever in the world. And so I love Marin Shed. It's just great. Every time I read it, I just tore through it. I think I tore through it in 2 days. So it's excellent. 5 stars easily. But yeah, it's the other 2 books, 2, 3, and 4 just aren't quite as good as Shadows Linger. Which is just tremendous. If you read The Black Company, you did not like it, at least read Shadows Linger. And if you don't like Shadows Linger, then Black Company's not for you. Alright, so before I get to my favorite book of the month, my final 5 star, talk about what I've been doing otherwise. So I have been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's been a long time since I played Assassin's Creed. I started with Assassin's Creed 1 and worked through all of them up to Odyssey, platinuming them, and the worst game by far is Assassin's Creed Unity. Because it's a sucky setting, and Arno is boring, and it is a game about the French Revolution without the guillotine. Which is like, what are you doing as an Assassin's Creed game? Assassin's Creed Odyssey is follows the path of Origins, which makes it just kind of a different game, which is fine. And Odyssey is awesome because their reconstruction of ancient Greece, the stuff that I teach literally every day in my classical studies class, is awesome. And so climbing around on Athena Promachus and all that other stuff is just freaking awesome. It overstays its welcome. There's just like, it's too big, like, and I don't care enough. It just takes too long. But I mean, it's really fun. And
Come here. Gives us a hug.
And I love ship battles on triremes and crap like that. And I've been watching. I'm almost done with 24. I've been rewatching all of 24, which is an amazing show. If you don't like 24 because of blah, 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 I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's not a real show. It's not real people. But it is awesome. So I love that Jack Bauer has to always, like, he doesn't give anybody a chance to respond. Like, he'll say, "Give me the name." Give me the name! Like, immediately. And it's like, give him a second to answer, Jack. What are you doing? Drop your weapon. Drop your weapon! Like, you didn't even give him time.
Where is my family?
Where is my family?
But I love 24. And I'm on the ninth season, which was truncated, and I hadn't seen it before. And it's not, I don't like goth Chloe. I don't know what all that's about. But I love 24, and I've been watching, rewatching the whole series, or whatever. But that's what I've been watching. So, without wasting any more time, so that brings me to my favorite book of the month, which is Boosh, The Mechanical, which is book 1 of the Alchemy War trilogy by Ian Tregillis. So I have good luck with read-alongs. My favorite book of January was Imperium. I don't think this isn't my favorite book of the year, I know, because there's something already ahead of it. But 2 years ago, when we did read-alongs, the first book I read that month was the first book of our first read-along, Imperium of the Cicero trilogy, and it ended up being my book of the year, let alone the book of the month. Mechanical is an alternate history where the Dutch control Europe because of their invention of alchemy, which allows them to animate what are called clackers, these automatons. And they are the superpower in Europe, and the French had to flee. The Dutch are all Protestant, and the French Catholics, they had to flee, and they have taken up in the New World. And there is no America. It's just France trying to avoid being massacred and obliterated by the Dutch and their clackers. And I didn't know what to expect, but it was so good. It was really, really good. It talks about free will and the soul, and that's not an uncommon theme to explore when we're dealing with robotic or artificial life or whatever. But I think this book does a really good job because it also talks about religion and where the free will and souls of robots lie on that spectrum, and also Catholics versus Protestant. It is really, really good, and there's a lot of spycraft. It's exciting. It feels like a political thriller / military fantasy, and it's different from many things that I've read because it is an alternate history rather than just a straight up fantasy. And the characters are good. There's 4 main POVs, there's 3 main POVs. And, we, all of us in the read-along, we all liked different perspectives. I am the only one who liked the French spy mistress as my favorite character. Everyone else is like, I like the priest, or I like the clackers, freaking Pete. But it was really good. I will have a review of it. All this I'm gonna have reviews of, but it's just taking forever, and you'll have forgotten that you watched this by the time that review comes out. But if you do want to check out my discussion with Sam from iSamwise, Nuclear Katie, and Pete, you can check it out right there, and I'll link that there. And we are on track to I've read the second book, which, spoiler alert, I liked even better than the first book. And we're on track to discuss that book as well come beginning of March. So it's a good start to the read-alongs, which pleases me greatly. So guys, that is all the books that I read in January. Man, you know what? I need to go back to reading 2 books a month, because then this isn't quite so long. because I don't have the stamina to film these long videos anymore. I got to get it back. I gotta work the muscle. Like, we've been down too long because of Stavely. At any rate, as a new addition to this stinger at the end of the videos, I want to thank my Privy Council members, Evie, Anitha, Kate, Caroline, Simon, Niru, Mike, and Spencer. Thank you guys so much for being part of the inner circle where we plot world domination. Guys, as always, information about my Patreon and Discord is down in the description, and I'll see you next time, guys.